Hey guys, Jesse here. I'm doing something a little bit different today. Just gonna give you a background on how I got started with knives and how I've progressed, and just kind of give you the rundown on how I've become who I am in knife making. It all started in 2009, December of 2009. When I was stuck in my house during a snowstorm for 6 days. As you can imagine, it got pretty boring, and I didn't really have anything to do. And I've always been into knives my whole life. I hadn't been into the more high-end stuff like Emerson and Strider and whatnot until later, probably earlier in 2009. But before that, I was into some like Buck and Gerber and what have you. Great knives for the price point, but not on the level that you would see Emerson and Benchmade and all those. But anyway, being stuck in my house for 6 days, I pretty much exhausted everything there is to do that you can do during a snowstorm. I built a snow shelter, and I smoked cigarettes out there for a few days until I ran out of smokes, and then I didn't really have anything else to do. My internet was down, so I mean, I don't know, low on supplies, just not a very good thing. I mean, being snowed in for a couple days is great, but for a week is kind of sucky. So being bored and being into knives, I decided to go grab a old saw blade out of the shop and make a karambit out of it. And I cut out the profile of the karambit with just a little hand grinder, and then I had this 8-inch wheel grinder, stone wheel grinder. You can pretty much find on any farm place, with the coarse stone on one side and the fine stone on the other. And I made the bevels on the blade, and you guys might have seen this before, but this is my very first knife. You can see I left the hole in the blade for your finger, and I made it bigger with that little grinder because I didn't have any rotary sander or drum sander or anything like that. And this thing is hideous. I showed my dad when I made it, and he was like, what the hell is that? I showed a few of my friends, and they were a little more kind, I guess. But in the back of their minds, they've told me that they're kind of thinking the same thing. It's a very hideous knife, and I'm glad I'm not making that kind of stuff anymore. But anyway, after that one, it was kind of like an addiction. I just wanted to keep making knives. That was the only karambit I ever made. I haven't made one yet. But anyway, I just wanted to progress and make more and better knives. I wanted to get better with each one, and that is still my goal today, is to progress with each knife. So kind of lost where I was going with that. But I tried to progress with each knife, and I could see progress, but with the limited tools I had, I wasn't going too far too fast. I've got a few things here to show you of where I've come, or where I started. I don't know, this is probably my 4th or 5th knife, little Tonto. These bevels are actually pretty deep for using that 8-inch grinder. That thing took some work to grind these bevels into. This thing is surprisingly comfortable in your hand. It's almost stupid, but it's hideous nonetheless. The handle shape is disgusting, but it feels really good for some stupid reason. But I don't think you'll be seeing this on any of my future models. So that's that. I didn't heat treat the saw blade, obviously, because it's already hardened, even though I probably already ruined the tempering by the time I got done grinding out the profile. But you can see the black kind of charred marks, and you can see this line here where it didn't get heated up at the back. And anyway, I heat treated this piece of unknown steel with a torch, and I quenched it in motor oil. I don't know how hard that thing is, but it's probably not very good. Anyway, moving on. I did a number of knives very similar to that one. Just random designs, no design to go off of. I just made random stuff every time. And then I started using just wood sanders. Like I had this 6 by 48 inch belt sander made for woodworking, and I started using that, and this is the first knife I made on there. I beat the hell out of the edge on this thing with another piece of steel for unknown reasons, but this thing was not hardened, and it shows because you can see how deep the other piece of steel went into it. You can see I messed up that edge pretty good. But anyway, this was supposed to be a survival knife. You can see it's got this badass saw blade on the back. Tonto. I tried to do kind of a nightmare grind on it. You can barely see it. I ground this. Imagine the belt moving this way. It's just going across the plane. I ground this into the blade going into the belt, so the blade was taking steel away from the belt like this, rather than grinding into the belt, into the bevel. I ground into the whole blade, and that was like this knife took me about 3 or 4 days, sadly, but it's whatever. Took some oak veneer, and I spray painted it black, and then I beat it up with sandpaper to give it like a worn look. It looks like shit, to say the least. But that was my first big survival knife, I guess. That was a pretty big motivational knife for me. At the time, that was awesome to me, and I was really excited about it. So it really drove me to go further with my knives and keep knocking stuff out. After that one, after I was working construction at the time, and after that one I would come in after work and just work my ass off on knives, and I did that for probably 9 months. Let's see, started in December '09. Yeah, I did that. I worked on that belt sander until September of 2010. So it's September of last year. I worked on that belt sander, and I moved to Norfolk, Nebraska in July of 2010. So 3 months after moving, I still was using that same sander and just knocking stuff out in my garage. After that, I bought a Grizzly 2x72 inch belt grinder, and the single speed, and that thing is lightning fast and is horrifying. I used that for 4 months before I got my KMG, or was it? It was about 5 or 6 months before I got my KMG. But anyway, that was actually a pretty big step in my knife making, and that actually produced a few decent. They're ugly knives. They're not decent. I'll shut up. But I did this weird ass straight razor thing. I don't know what the hell to call that one. And then I've got this ugly other thing. I don't know what this one. I don't know. Weird knives. I didn't make much progress, but like later into 2010, I started getting better, and I bought some better steel. I had people heat treat my blades for me instead of doing it with a torch, and I bought some better handle materials. And this was like, I think, one of the last knives I did on my Grizzly. You can't see very well how ugly this is in the camera. The carbon fiber looks okay, but all the steel work on this thing is pretty ugly, to say the least. You can see my horrible cuts in there. And you guys should recognize this blade profile. I have done a number of these, only a better, more up-to-date version. This is a full flat grind, pretty ugly knife, but anyway, so over the course of December 2009 until the end of 2010, I just worked on sucky stuff, very minimal equipment, and busted my ass trying to make good knives. And then into in December of 2010, this last year, we had the USN get together of the Nebraska USN get together, just people from Nebraska. And I had joined the USN back in like December of '09, right when I started knife making. But anyway, moving forth to December 2010, we had the Nebraska get together, and it was, let's see, it was me, Charles Marlowe, DJ from American Cami, Chris. I can't remember his username. I would have to. I'll look it up. Who was all there? I'm so bad with names. Kevin was there. Who else? I think there was 3 other people. I know them by their usernames more than personally. But anyway, we had to get together, and I brought a chisel ground Tonto version of this with cord wrapped handle, and that was the only knife I brought of mine that I had done. And I knew who Charles was, so I wanted to show him my work and get some opinions. And after everybody had left, it was me, Charles, and DJ just kind of hanging out. And I brought out the knife, and they talked about it. They were very kind to me, and gave me some tips, you know, this and that. And after that, DJ had left, and Charles took me to a shop and showed me around, and we kind of just talked for quite a while about knife making, and I asked him a lot of questions, and it was then and there, when it was just me and Charles, that he talked me into going a step further and purchasing some good equipment. So he said that I should focus more on equipment rather than buying knives. I should want to make knives more than buying them. That really wasn't his exact words, but that was kind of in the direction he was pointing me. So let's see here, I'm drawing a blank. Oh man, I just went blank, guys. Let's see. Okay, so I decided after that I went home and I started looking at high-end grinders. I looked at KMG, Wilton, Bader, Burr King, all those, and I decided, I called Charles and I said, hey, I'm looking at this KMG, and he said, he gave me some words of encouragement, I guess, on the machine, and then I think it was like a month later I went ahead and purchased it, and that was a huge step into knife making for me. That was the big go for me, that I'm gonna make knives not just for fun and as a hobby, but I want to do this and get good at it. So I got the KMG, spent a lot of money on it, the KMG and the horizontal both. Spent a big chunk of money, And after that, I was like, no more knives. I'm not buying any more knives. And I haven't. I bought one knife since then, and it was a Benchmade 53, one of Charles's collabs with Benchmade. But anyway, I got the KMG and really started working on my knives and trying to get ahead and just get good. I don't really know how else to say it, but since, let's see, I bought the KMG at the end of January, and I started working on it, getting used to the machine. I screwed up so many blades on that thing because I wasn't used to it. It just had power. The variable speed was very different to me, and I messed up. I messed up probably my first 10 blades on that thing, just scrapped. And I have a scrap drawer. I have never thrown away a single knife I've made. I have every knife that I haven't gotten rid of is in the shop, in a drawer. So if anybody ever stops by, I'll show you that and show you all my mess ups. But anyway, I just kept working really hard, and then after a while, after I started getting some support from you guys, I decided to get my own forum on the USN. And it's funny to call 5 or 6 months ago my early stages of knife making, but that's kind of what it is. You guys supported me big time in my early stages, and that also was a big kick for me to progress more and more. From 5 or 6 months ago until now, there's been a lot of progress that has been made. I've just gotten that muscle memory and the eye for things, and just working on imperfections that I see in the knives that I make, and I've progressed a lot from the time I bought my forum on the USN. So I guess we're kind of in the now. With I keep getting lost for words, guys. I should have a script or something. But anyway, I've progressed a lot. I've just worked really hard every day. I'm in the shop, you know, from the time I get off work, which is like, I'll get home at like 4:30 in the afternoon, eat something, and then be in the shop by 5 and be cranking out blades till 11 or 12 at night. Get up at 6:30 and go back to work, start all over again. And I work Saturday and Sunday on knives as well, so there's really no break for me, but that's what I want. I'm just trying to become the best knife maker that I can be. Not necessarily the best knife maker there is, because I don't really think that there's a way to gauge the best knife maker. Everybody's got their different styles and the way they do things, and everybody has their own distinction, I guess. Everybody's knives are different, and there's no way to say that somebody else's knives are better than somebody else's. So I just strive to make the best knives that I can. And a thing I asked myself last year was, where will I be next year? And I would have never guessed that I would have, you know, my knives are far from perfect. I've got a long way to go yet, but I never would have guessed that I would have been at this stage with knives. I've gotten so much support from you guys and the USN that it's just driven me. I've just tried so hard to get farther and make a better knife than the last one and keep going. It's just ridiculous. And now with the whole G3 thing, going back a year, I definitely wouldn't have guessed that I'd be sitting at a table at G3 with my knives. I wouldn't have guessed that anybody would have wanted to see my knives on a table. It's pretty overwhelming to see that I've gone from this to let's see here, to better things like this in a year's time. I mean, not really a year, more like a year and a half, but I really didn't take it too serious until about a year ago, and then I got like 100% serious about I want to do this only 8 months ago. So this is me 8 months ago, you know, pretty ugly, sucky, finishing everything, and you guys have just pushed me to become what I am. And then, you know, I ask myself now, what will I be like in a year? And I'm definitely gonna get another table at G3. You know, maybe work on getting to blade. But I think from this point, after G3, after I get all these knives knocked out, I'm gonna start working a lot more on folders and more advanced things, because there's more of a more people are after the folding knives than fixed blades. In my opinion, a fixed blade is far superior to a folder. I mean, the only thing a folder has on a fixed blade is that it folds. You know, a fixed blade is gonna snap. That's the only failing point of a fixed blade is the blade. A folder can, you know, it's got hardware that can get messed up. But the convenience of a folder is what gets the popularity. It's just a lot more convenient to carry around a folding knife than it is to strap on a fixed blade to your waist, and it's a lot more discreet and a lot less intimidating to people that would see you walking around. You know, if somebody sees a folder clipped into your pocket, they might think, oh, weirdo, but, you know, whatever, shake it off. If somebody sees you walking around with a fixed blade at Walmart, they're going to be like, what the hell is this guy doing? He's going to murder us all, or some stupid stuff like that. So I'm really going to press hard on the folders, and still going to make fixed blades, obviously, but I'm going to open up for folder orders at G3. I'll be ready to take orders there. Just telling you now. I'll have a book, write down your name, your info, and G3 will be the time. Come find me, and I'll have a limited number of slots available. I'll take at G3. I don't know what that number is yet, but it's not gonna be a really small number. I'll get a few people. If you want the folders, I'll write you down, and then I'll save a few more slots for people that aren't going to be at G3 for the folders. So that's kind of my kick from G3. This is like another big step for me. G3. It's another block. It's another piece to the puzzle, I guess, that is Jarras Knives. G3 is like the starting point of the next level of what I'm doing. It's going to be more folders, lot better work you're going to see from me. I'm going to strive, like I am already, I guess, you know, putting 8 or 9 hours after 8 hours of work, and then hitting it hard on the weekend as well. I'm just going to strive to make awesome stuff for you guys, and just keep pushing, and hopefully in a year you'll see a whole new level from me. I would just really like to go another few steps forward into knife making, and then you know, in 5-10 years maybe I'll be doing this full time, and I'll be looking at the knives I'm making now and be like, what the hell was that? But I'm just going to continue to progress, and my goal for you guys is to make sharp things that make you happy. Nothing is better than hearing from somebody or seeing the look on someone's face when I make somebody a knife and they're completely stoked about it. That's one of the coolest feelings, and that's the most rewarding thing of being a knife maker. And I really want to get to the point where I can do that every day of my life. So with G3 here, hopefully that is the kick in my ass to send me on that next step, and to just every day hit it hard, and just make more knives, make better knives, more folders, and get some really awesome stuff out there to you guys. So with that said, that's really kind of my whole story of knife making, and hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. I know it was really long, but that's alright. Maybe you made it all the way through, maybe you're sleeping by now, but hope you guys look forward to what I bring in the future. I hope you look forward to seeing me at G3, and hope you look forward to everything, you know. I'm just ready. I'm ready for the future. I'm ready for the future of what I can do. If I could step ahead a year and look at my stuff and know which direction I'm going, that would be awesome. But for now, I just have to keep working on my stuff without knowing what's ahead. But I'm gonna continue to progress, or at least hopefully. I don't want to go downhill, but I'm gonna continue to work on progressing and making the best I can. I think I've said that like 85,000 times by now. I'm very redundant. I'm just tired. But anyway, I've got 18 knives in the lineup for G3. I've listed that on the USN. I've posted pictures. Hopefully all the fixed blades are knocked out by this week. The sheaths, handle material, everything. And then hopefully I can get the folders knocked out in about a week and a half. And then I will take all my stuff in a nice bag and send it with a friend of mine to drive down to G3, because I don't want to fly with a bunch of knives in my bag and then have them lost along the way, because that would suck. So my stuff will be down there. I'll meet up with it, set up shop, and look forward to talking to you guys, getting some feedback on my knives, and just look forward to it. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.